What's up out there? So I just brought Zack Horvath back to do a video about construction marketing. In this video, we break down everything you need to know to create a construction company marketing campaign that you can do in a matter of hours for less than $1,000. In fact, probably for only a couple $100. If you watch this whole video and apply what we talk about, there's no reason you can't double or triple your business in a matter of 30 days. This is exactly what you need to create a marketing campaign for your construction company. I hope you enjoy it. Here's our video. The goal with today is to present a template for marketing for any contractor. I want to walk them through everything they need to do to build a successful paid advertising campaign and generate a ton of leads. From the top to bottom, Zack Horvath owns a marketing agency that services mainly solar companies. Let's just jump right in and go top to bottom, everything that you need to do if you're a contractor right now to be successful in generating a ton of leads. So where do we start?
The first thing is, and it might not apply to all companies, but it's usually the niche. So for anyone who doesn't know what a niche is a market or sub-market within your market that you're aiming to sell to. It might sound complicated, but it's basically like what kind of jobs you're looking to do. If you have one job that is the most profitable for you and takes not a lot of time to fulfill, then probably that could be your niche. Or it can also be as simple as specializing either to homeowners or different types of businesses. So for example, I recently spoke with a guy who doesn't do any systems below 500 kilowatt per hour.
What Zack is saying essentially is large, complicated things can't be sold easily. If you're not at the level where you're the man yet, if you haven't been doing it for 20 years, and by the way, I know general contractors that have been doing it for 20 years who still can't generate consistent leads. So the remedy for that, what Zack is saying, is you take what you're doing, you keep doing it. This is what I tell everybody that works with me. I say, keep doing what you're good at, but now let's find a side channel, okay, a second channel that's an easily identifiable product in a niche that you can specifically call out in advertising, use to draw leads, and then lead you to other business. I'll give you an example of a friend that I helped. He has a painting company. And what we did was we created a campaign to do paint gutters. Okay. Now you might think, why would you want to paint gutters? Well, people need gutters painted. So what he does, and this is brilliant, when he goes out to do the gutter painting, number one, he can quote them right over the phone. Right now, if he has to quote a painting job, he has to visit the site first, do an estimate, then he has to send it to the customer. This is a lot of operational drag. With the gutter painting, he just gets a phone call. He says, how many gutters you have? Literally, it's like, oh, well, we have 4 sides to the house and whatever. He knows how many gutters are there. He gives him a quote over the phone. He goes out, rolls the truck out to go paint the gutters. And while he's there, 9 times out of 10, they need other services. Now he estimates because he's already there getting paid, and he sends his second crew to follow and do that complicated work. So this is just one example.
Yeah, absolutely. So like find a channel that works the best for you in terms of fulfillment and in terms of, profit.
EV chargers is easy to market. Solar is easy to market. It's a single product, right? And by the way, there's a ton of other benefits that come with picking a single product, which we can list later. But it doesn't mean you change what you do. It means you use that as the leader. You keep your, whatever business you're getting currently, you keep getting. You use that to draw more business, and you end up with more leads now coming in from that channel. And then you can kind of pick and choose the jobs you want.
I think we covered everything on niches for sure.
What's the second part then? So once they choose a product, what do they do?
So once you've chosen your market or you've chosen your specific product, then you'd have to create an offer that you're going to use in your ads. So that offer can be it can be a discount, but I always advise people not to do discounts.
So once you've chosen your product, now we have to build an offer around it. And something like if you're selling tankless water heaters, it might be something where you say, okay, this is a 1-day install. We replace your tankless water heater in 1 day, and we give you a free recirculation pump that makes you have instant hot water. Or you can do a service panel upgrade offer. I mean, you could create it where when you do an electric vehicle charger, you throw the service panel in for a discounted price because you're going to be there in the same time. We have to just get creative. And this is where like you and I come in with doing some of the testing.
Absolutely. So if you're serving like standard homeowners or like you're trying to sell in a more B2C market, you don't need a massive budget. If you have like already like a niche commercial market that you're trying to get into.
But the beauty of it is you can do all of this testing so cheap, it's so affordably right now that it makes sense to try different offers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're serving like standard homeowners or like you're trying to sell in a more B2C market, you don't need a massive budget. If you have like already like a niche commercial market that you're trying to get into, that's when advertising gets a bit more trickier and a bit more expensive. But if you're going for mass market, like it's cheap.
Right. We're mainly discussing residential here, but the same principles apply to commercial. Commercial ad campaigns are more expensive. That's just the nature of it, because what you're doing is you're going out and you're trying to reach the decision makers at companies that need the work. That said, they're also way more lucrative. The goal of most contractors is to get into commercial. If you start in residential, you either want to do really high-end residential stuff because that's where the money is, or you want to get into commercial. To me, I like being Walmart. I like serving everyone. But and you can make money. You can make money doing any of the three. It's just they're different targeted audiences. That's all it is. So you've got your niche. Now you've got your offer. What's the next component?
I wanted to add one thing to the offer component.
Sure.
Just a little caveat for people to, to do testing even more cheaper. So what you can do is, if you come up with an offer, all you have to do, you have to just call 10 leads and then listen to their responses. And, out of the 10, if 8 people would respond positively, then you have a clear-cut winner, and then you can use that in your ad campaign. You won't be wasting any budget on testing.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So Zach, what's the next thing after offer? After they pick a niche, have an offer, what's our next thing?
The next thing is going to be your landing page and/or your form. So landing page is what people are going to see when they click on your ad. Most of the people who are listening, or pretty much all of them, have clicked on an ad before, most certainly. Yeah, so the primary goal of a landing page is to convert the people going to the website into leads. That's ultimately, like, the input is website traffic, the output is leads. It's quite simple to measure. And what you have to include on your landing page is always going to be, one, your form. So form is where you collect the names and email addresses and phone numbers, and if you have any niche specific questions, then you can collect those types of information in the form. And the other thing that is a must, your landing page has to be congruent with your offer. As in, if you're trying to sell tankless water heaters, then you don't use your homepage, which just has your logo on it, as a landing page. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right. It's just a web page that they click the ad, they land on the web page. It might give them some more information on your offer. You're either going to collect their name. In some cases, you'll collect the home address, right? The guy who you just mentioned who sells systems at 5 kW and higher, that's exactly what he's doing. Yeah. I mean, if he's not doing right, he's looking at the roof, because you can know in solar, when you look at Google, whether or not you're going to get a 2 kW system or a 10 kW system on that roof. The landing page is critical because they're going to collect the necessary information that will then help you pre-qualify the leads and make sure that you can do anything for them to begin with.
Yeah, like more complex forms. For example, the one that you've just mentioned, obviously you're going to need a different type of software to collect those types of information. And, for the contractors who are driving out in a truck and now are thinking that they are going to need a website, it's not necessarily true. Because, for example, with Facebook, what you can do is you can create your forms in the Facebook Ads Manager section. So what that means is whenever someone clicks on your ad, they stay on the platform. They're not going to any other website, basically an integrated form in your feed. So if you don't have any website or any of those, it's a good option. Yeah.
Wait a second. Okay, know about the form. I know you can do that with the forms, but can you then tie back to something on your Facebook profile, on your business profile, to show them?
Yeah. So the way that a Facebook, those are called native lead ad form, native because you're doing it on the platform and not going to any external site. What you'll do is you'd have a headline and then qualifying questions and then the contact information. And after that, once it's filled out, there's going to be like a thank you slide within the platform. And on there, you can put a call to action to view your Facebook page or give you a call. So we
check out our work. Good. Yeah, that's cool. That's really, you don't worry about having a website. Have a Facebook page and an Instagram.
So in the business manager part of Meta, there is like a CRM, but it's a crappy version of a professional CRM. You would see all the people who signed up are no buttons to actually call them. That's sort of the trade-off there.
Right. Yeah, you have to take the number out of their list and dial it in your phone. And yes, yeah, but
Yeah,
you
like
can export
download it
that
in.
too. I mean,
Mhm.
eventually.
Yeah, you can download it in an Excel file and then do it that way.
Yeah, but it's a good place to start. For somebody who's driving around in a truck, if they took 2 hours this weekend to set up their Facebook ads, I know my niche. I'm a plumber and I'm going to offer tankless water heaters. There's my niche. My offer. I'm going to install your tankless water heater in one day. I'm going to try something simple at first, right? I'm going to look around at the other tankless water heater advertisements out there. So I have my niche, I have my offer. Now I'm going to go build out my Facebook. How do I do all this stuff?
If you're talking about setting up your Facebook page, and like Facebook, your Facebook page doesn't necessarily exist to run advertising campaigns. Like it exists for a bunch of other different reasons, like posting content of your work and all that. So you don't have to go crazy. You can just create a logo with logo creator softwares where you just type in your business's name and then AI is going to give you a logo in like 30 seconds.
Have you used brandmark.io? I think it's called. That one's pretty good.
I know that AI logo creator programs exist, but honestly, I just never use them. I'm going the logo. Let's go to like Microsoft Paint or Canva, and then I would just work on it for like 30 minutes.
Totally. And it's worth talking about Canva here because my dream contractor is somebody who they master what they do. This guy is going to be a millionaire. If I tell you about a guy out there right now who's in their 20s, who's going to be a millionaire within years, just years, you're a contractor driving around a truck. You master Canva, you master videography, like in a very simple way. You get one of those Instago 360 cameras, and then you master CapCut for video editing. You do those three things, right? You see that guy's a millionaire, period. That dude is a millionaire fast. That's it. You just master though. That's your stack right there. If you do that, but look, if you're not that person and you don't want to do this, there's also Fiverr, Fiverr, Fiverr.com, which is where you go and you hire people from all over the world to do a logo for $30 or $15. You can also do that too. They're going to get to the point where they say, okay, I got my niche. I have my offer. I can kind of use Facebook, but oh man, there's all this stuff. I have to create an ad and all this stuff. No, Fiverr is your next stop. If you don't want to do the work, then Fiverr is your next stop. And now your total out of pocket spend is about $60. And now you got your first ad.
And another one caveat I wanted to add is that so many business owners are postponing advertising because they don't have any page likes or have very few page likes on Facebook. Page likes can help, but they won't make or break your campaign. If you do advertising well and you have 2 likes on your page, your fiance and your daughter, then you can still do really well.
Right.
That's the only thing I wanted to add.
Well, I think the one thing to start now, no matter what, start showing your work in the best light possible starting today. Take video, take photos. What Zach said is absolutely true. It doesn't matter the page likes. If you have work examples there, it shows people, okay, yeah, they're a legitimate business. Because that's going to be the client's first concern is, I clicked on this ad, what am I seeing now? Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of work. I know it's legit. Now it's just a matter of getting an estimate.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do have a landing page set up or website set up, you have to include all of your works, or at least the works that you're proud of. Because whenever someone visits, like testimonies and like reviews of your previous project do a lot more talking than any other ad copy can, because it's that important.
That's a good point. And maybe this is a good time to talk about reviews, because contractors, man, you've been in the business a little while. You can see contractors are like it's a lot like restaurants where, sometimes it's unfair. The bigger the construction project, the more the guarantee that there's going to be a disagreement with the customer. I can give you my opinion of this, but in terms of what you've seen in terms of your clients, do negative comments have a huge effect on a business?
I would say no. So if you're running ads on social media, any type of social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever, people cannot directly look at your views. If you were to see an ad, you'd have to click on the page, and then you'd have to click to the about section to the page. Then you'd have to click on reviews, and even then, quite a few people leave any reviews on Facebook. What you have to keep in mind is that if you're using Google keyword campaigns and someone Googles your business, then there is going to be bad reviews. Okay, so if you're running social media campaigns, you don't have to worry about bad reviews. If you're running Google Google keyword campaigns. Like if someone types in plumber near me, your business is going to like be at the top. Then people are going to see the reviews. Actually, the majority of the people leave reviews on Google. So that's why it's a bit more dangerous to run keyword ads.
Yeah, and we have Yelp too. Is also pretty bad. Social media ads, it doesn't matter. Google keywords, absolutely. I would not get obsessed with negative reviews. I'd hope they'd fix the job and make sure they did right by the customer. You're always going to have people who get upset with you and want to ruin your business. But the reality is they can't. That one negative review doesn't matter. And in the scheme of things, if you do the work every single day and you're running a successful campaign, it becomes irrelevant very quick. Anyway, the other thing about having a niche, having an offer, and then doing some marketing is that you're going to generate enough leads that eventually it's going to make it irrelevant. That's the point of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, you have 1,000 reviews, and let's say that your 30% of your clients was like they were unsatisfied with your job or either with you. There would be 300 negative reviews. But if you post 700 positive reviews on your website, no one's going to notice those like extra negative reviews. Scale makes negative reviews irrelevant. Point.
And the whole thing is, and it's like, just keep it in perspective. You're growing a business. I'll say one last thing. A lot of, at least me, I took pride in what I did. I had somebody out there representing me and doing a poor job. It's like, I used to have a saying, I apologize every day for something I would never do. And that wears at you after a while, especially, a general contractor or a trade contractor who takes pride in their work and they're a good person. It's really tough, but it's inevitable and it's part of growing your business. And you just have to grow thick skin to it because it's a reality of it.
Yeah, it happens.
What's our next item?
The next item, I just sort of wanted to be more descriptive about launching the campaigns in terms of how you should look at it, how you should start copywriting. I think that's really important because the first time when you're going to see whatever advertising platform you're using, anyone who's not experienced, it looks a bit complicated. The first thing is always going to be setting up your target market in the advertising manager. If you're driving around the truck, what would be a sensible radius?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. All right, this is perfect. This brings us to our fourth topic here, which is really constructing the campaign, fine-tuning your campaign. Geographic radius plays a part in this, and that just depends on the person's appetite and how far they want to drive. Somebody called me to see if I knew somebody for a referral for somebody who does mold water damage restoration. I called a friend of mine in Orange County, which is about 60 miles from where I'm at. This person's house is located about 30 miles from Orange County. And he said, no. He said, I don't want it. That's how much business he has. Oh. He's like, I don't want to go. Yeah, he won't go 30 miles. No, another mold or restoration person would be like, absolutely, I'll go all the way to Bakersfield, which is, 2.5 hours away. They'll do it. Over time, the idea is you shrink your geographic radius to a manageable distance. So right now you got to kind of start out here and then eventually you come back here. That's what your campaign will do over time for you. But when you're starting out at first, it's up to the individual manager.
Let's say that you're located in, I don't know, San Diego, right? So you can just put San Diego into the advertising platform, and then the lowest that you can go in terms of radius would be a 5-mile radius, and you can go all the way up to 50. And the problem there, let's say that if you're doing solar again, if we take New York as an example, there are quite a few areas in New York that are not really applicable for solar. For example, Manhattan. So what you can do is you can just list out all the zip codes that you're covering, and then you can put those zip codes into Facebook. So then everyone living within those zip codes are going to receive your ads. And that's also a very good tactic. That way you can also target affluent areas as well. You just have to know the richest postcodes in whatever city that you live in. It's going to be a bit more expensive, but of course there's more money in it. So yeah, absolutely, it's a trade-off.
We used to get this all the time. People clicking on the ads who lived in apartments all the time. I mean, I don't know what the hell they're doing all day that they say, oh, I want solar panels on my apartment. We get it a lot. And then what we started doing was really fine-tuning and really understanding the zip codes. And then once we did that, it was like we eradicated that pretty quick. It was so effective. This is a weapon, because what happens with the larger companies, they don't do this. Like your largest competitor is probably not doing this. Somebody like Zack, this is like goes without saying to do this. I mean, it's just logical, but the contractors don't. I know so many who don't see this, and they waste a lot of money as a result.
Yeah, it makes the campaigns more efficient. And ultimately, if you have a small budget, that's what you want. If you take, let's say, corporations or like massive businesses as an example, their marketing is not necessarily about getting the highest return on investment as possible. You know, like each quarter, they're going to receive a marketing budget, and then they can do whatever they want with that marketing budget.
I'll go back to my example before, because I really want somebody to do this, because I know my friend Dave does this. And he kills it in mold restoration. He was a drywall dude and a painter. He's not drywall or painting anymore. And he's the reason I know about this. Like, he's been doing this probably 20 years. I want somebody to do this with mold and restoration, because when you look at your competitors, you're competing against the giants, Serve Pro and their competitors. And it's like their marketing campaigns they use television. So you know they're spending millions and millions of dollars for nothing. I mean, just to put their name out there, really. You, on the other hand, can, with Google, get somebody who searches water damage. How much more direct can you get than they search water damage and you're the second one and your caption is locally owned or something? So now they see Surf Pro in the lineup and the next one and it's locally owned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the ultimate way to beat corporations and big businesses in terms of getting the best in your area. Back when I used to do gyms, I used to advertise for gyms for around 1.5 years. So like there are all these massive franchises like Planet Fitness. And what we notice is that if you have a well-crafted message and an efficient campaign, you can just simply, by focusing all your resources into one area, you can outcompete big franchises whose marketing is on the corporate level.
Right.
And yeah, so you can beat them in your area.
All right, so we want to say one more thing about fine-tuning your marketing campaign applies to commercial contractors.
This one is much more of a strategy. So instead of using one channel to reach out to businesses, because like the problem with selling to businesses is that there's always a massive decision-making process behind making big investments. That can be the case with solar, or what you can do is if you have a list of businesses, and list of business owners, I wouldn't even say business owners, but like business decision makers. So CFOs, COOs, all those type of guys. Then what you can do is you can put that list into Facebook. You can run targeted ads to people because Facebook will match the email addresses with Facebook profiles. Yeah. So you can do that. Plus, as an add-on, you can also call them and you can also send promotional emails to them. So then you'll be reaching out to them via 3 channels, which makes, like converting leads a lot better, as an example.
Totally. So when you're doing a lot of residential work, what happens is you crave the consistency and longer duration of commercial work, okay? Because it's not as much of a headache. The margins may or may not be the same. Depending on what you do, they could be higher, they could be lower. You're making a transition from residential to commercial, right? So that what I do is I have them target small to medium-sized businesses to get social proof. Let's say you're a solar installer, right? Well, you need to do a couple of buildings now, or ground mounts, or different commercial projects. You do what you're talking about. Go direct to the smaller, medium-sized property owners or businesses. So now you can get in the door and get to social proof. And then from there, you start to do the big RFP campaigns, where a lot of these really large jobs come through RFPs, which is request for proposal. And in order to qualify for those, you really have to show the proof. And then it boils down to like your price and whether or not they like you and saw the proof. Man, those jobs are interesting to me, especially like government jobs and stuff like that, because sometimes I think they literally just have a pile and they mark the first one, they throw it off the pile, and that person gets the job. We can get to those people in a campaign. And this worked really well for a friend of mine who's a solar installer, who's doing government jobs now all over Texas and all over Arizona. Going back 8 years, they were an installer subcontractor that worked for our company. So they were doing residential subcontracted installations, and now they're huge. Huge in the 9 figures a year or more gross income, because they're doing huge solar installations, like acres and acres of solar panels. So anyway, but they did exactly that. They got their first commercial job, they showed the proof, they did direct sales, and then they used that as a campaign to entice RFPs, and then eventually even into the system for award management, SAM system with the government, and they were able to get those too. Okay, what's our next thing? After fine-tuning your campaign, what do you do next?
After fine-tuning your campaign, your last task is going to be creating the ads. Creating the actual ads is what drives the most success in a campaign. It never is the landing page or the targeting. If your ads are correct, then you don't have to worry about any other component because they're going to do the speaking for you. If we were to define the ads, it would be something that is very similar to a post that shows up in a lot of people feeds who would be possibly interested in your product. So that is an
Yeah.
ad. An ad contains an image or known as a creative. It contains a copy, which is just the text above the image, and it contains the headline. And
Right.
yeah, so if we were to start with the creative, like you don't necessarily need to make it look like very professional. As in, you don't have to have very nice camera equipment. Like if you have a phone that you've bought after 2018, you can probably use that to make photos to
Right.
your ads. The only thing that's important with images that they have to look clean and they have to be a bit different than what people are used to, because
Right.
the images are only important for stopping people's scroll. That makes
So
sense.
absolutely. Yeah. So we could do this all day long. This particular topic, we'll do another video on that. So if you're a guy in the truck, what are some things you can do to create your ad right now? For me, the way I answer that would be, it's you. You want to stop a scroll? You talking, you showing, right? You want it to look like a post. The best guy ever is the guy on TikTok with the I don't know if you've seen this dude. He's on TikTok. I should get his name, but he does pressure washing. He runs an edger. It's like you could not do something more simple than that. And his advertising, I mean, obviously it's a social media campaign, but imagine the person now who's driving around in their truck and they're a roofer. You stand up on the roof, you point at the problem. This is a leak. This is a soft spot on the roof. Get us a call right here. This is what we're doing. That's going to stop that problem. A hole in the roof with your foot going into it is going to stop my scroll. You know what I mean? Just think, what would stop you? An electric panel, when you open the cover and it's all corroded and nasty, and you put something that says fire hazard with arrows, is going to stop my scroll. Stuff like that. I mean, for right now, I'm trying to get to like the most rudimentary, basic level that a guy driving in a truck can go create an ad this week. Today, he can go and shoot a picture and take, because you always see, all these guys always see ugly stuff all the time. Ugly stuff will stop the scroll.
Absolutely.
That's just
Also
an idea.
before afters. Yeah. Before afters, like if you're renovating stuff, like whatever it is, just shoot a photo before the job and then shoot it after, and there you have an ad. Right. It's quite simple.
So ugly stuff, number one. Before afters, and everybody knows what a before after is. Ugly kitchen, new kitchen. And I'll give you a third bonus one that you can do today. You can make an ad of, which is embarrassment. I love embarrassment with when it comes to home remodeling, because when you take a picture of a kitchen or an old kitchen that you have, and you say something like, "Stop being embarrassed." Are you embarrassed of your kitchen? Are you embarrassed of your bathroom? This is a pain point with people. It gets them, to engage. Most people are. Are you embarrassed of your bathroom? Well, a new bathroom is less money than you think. Click. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And really what that points to, an advertising tactic would, show them their pain, right? Put their pain right in their face. When you can put the pain in their face, you're selling workouts and you show somebody, a guy with a belly, it's a pain point.
When you have your image or creative for the ad and you've successfully stopped the scroll, the next thing that people are going to read is going to be your ad copy. And probably the ad copy is the part where you can make the most mistakes. And I'm going to explain why. Yeah, probably the biggest mistake that I see people making is they're not calling out any type of people. So like if you're shooting for homeowners who are living in New Jersey, let's say, then the first line of your ad should always be, "Attention, New Jersey homeowners." It's not really formal, and also it's not really professional, but it's going to grab people's attention. And ultimately, whenever you're advertising, attention is always going to be the most important thing that you need to optimize for. So
how does that apply? How would it apply to somebody who needs a new hot water heater?
You can also ask it in questions. So if you don't have a specific target market for tankless water heaters, then you can just directly address it in the first line. Like, hey, do you still have hot water? Or
No hot water? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Does your
So
hot water take
it can
15
be,
minutes to heat up?
yeah, like those are all calling out your audience. You can call out based on where they live, based on what type of house they own, or based on what problem they're struggling with.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Call out the problem.
And then,
I think construction, it's like, I think with construction, it's a problem typically.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
or,
most of the times.
yeah. Or a pain point. Going back to what I said before, you could call it a pain point.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The other huge mistake that I see people making is making the ad all about their company instead of making it all about the people who are going to read the ad.
100%.
Because people love to hear about themselves. And it's not because all of us are narcissistic. Like people, most people are not interested in what the company has accomplished. I mean, they're going
Right.
to be interested later on when it's at the proposal level. Your ad should always be about your target audience.
That's so true.
I,
That right there is that's a great point, because that is the thing that man, I see this so much with construction companies about us. It's like about us. Nobody fucking cares about your company. They care about their problem first. You might have a solution for them. This is what we're leading you into. We're leading you through this, by the way. This is what you're doing. When you pick out a niche product and then you make an offer, right? You're identifying that niche product where, you're calling it we're at a step before that even. You're calling out their problem. They see that you might have a solution for it. Now they see that you're making them an offer for it. Now they care about your company a little bit, not too much. It's the fourth thing. When you make it the first thing to showcase your company and you got pictures of everybody hugging on the front, no one cares. They care about their problem being solved by somebody, and that's a huge point. That's a huge point.
and I've sort of explained what not to do. I also brought a copywriting structure that we use for our clients and made like tens of thousands of dollars with it. It's quite simple. The structure is as follows, and that's from top to bottom. So that's from the first line up until the very last one. The first thing that you should be doing is calling out your audience. So if your audience struggles with a common problem of, let's say that they don't have any hot at home, then that is going to be you calling out your audience. Or
Yeah,
if
you
you're
need
a
a new
solar
roof,
guy,
right?
or if you're a solar guy, then you can do is you can just call out people like attention XY location homeowners. So that's going to be your first line. The second line is going to be elaborating on their goals and fears. So you can motivate people positively, as in motivate them towards a goal, or you can motivate them negatively, as in moving them away from a fear. And in practice, the
Which
way
one works? Which one works better?
I don't have in terms of that, both of them work. If in the grand scheme of things, I would rather say elaborating on fear.
I think so too. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. People are usually more motivated not to lose something than get something. That's sort of the psychology behind this. So you would
cool.
elaborate on their fears. After you've done that, you would be positioning yourself as the expert who helps them reach their goal or avoid their fears. And then, well, there you would insert your offer and then a call to action. Yeah.
So this is how it looks for the dude in the truck, right? So I'll start at the top. Roof leak. Your roof leaking. Photo of a roof that's soft. You clearly see has water damage on it, right? Now the next part is their fears. So I would say something like, "This won't go away. This is going to get worse," right? Or something in some creative way. And then the next part is, "We fix this before it becomes this." Like you can even put like a picture of the water damage in the house and the drywall collapsing and all that stuff, right? Your offer, whatever that is, we can be specific with an offer, like, but we fix it as your offer. You could be just that.
Yeah.
And then the call to action, click here for a free estimate. And then they click and now you have their lead. Now you call them back. This is not complicated stuff. You can see it in the best ads all the time when you're out there. But I would say 50% of your competition as a contractor are people showcasing their company. This is our family. It's like literally like somebody's out there with their arms around each other in front of their building, something electrical, and it's like 20 people outside hugging in front of a building. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see that.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to know, you know what I mean? It's so that's your
Group
competition.
photos.
So
Yeah, it's bad.
stupid. But that's your competition. So when you actually follow this, which to some of you driving around, and contractors are pretty smart people. They're like we're all like street smart, competent people. That's what we are. Like if you get into construction, you do it because you're street smart and you're competent. That's the thing. I kind of live in both worlds. I went to college, but I'm also street smart and competent, right? So like I've kind of got a foot in both worlds. So a lot of this stuff we hear this and we're like, it's logical. Of course I would do that. But the thing is, then they don't do it. You know what I mean? Then they allow the marketing they hire to put pictures of their company, and they're not actually going directly for the problem. And that's the thing. It's like one takeaway here would be go directly at them. Go directly at your potential customer. Show them what they need. Show them that you have it. Make them an offer for it. And then watch the leads pour in. And again, I love construction because it's a wide open place. No one follows the rules. No one's doing it. So anyone has an opportunity to, and there's endless jobs. There's just endless jobs out there. Everyone needs you. All right. So now we have so again, we're talking about the guy in the truck right now who's going to go out this weekend and he's going to build his first ad campaign through Facebook and Instagram, maybe Google if he wants to get a little technical. What should they plan to spend on this first campaign, keeping in mind that they want to target geographically, probably? What should they plan on spending on the first campaign?
Yeah.
In terms of leads, numbers.
Well, I actually made a video, a step-by-step tutorial about how you can launch your first ads. Those are mainly crafted for solar companies in the description.
We're going to put the link. Yeah, sorry. So I cut you off. We're going to put the link in the description. I didn't know you did that. Let's do that. So guys, so Zack has a video. We're going to put the link in the description of how to use YouTube, and what tell us about the video real quick so they know what they're getting from that, because this will give them training in what YouTube, Google, and Facebook.
On the video only covers Facebook ads and Instagram ads because those are within the same umbrella. So cool. The video only covers creating Facebook ads, and it covers creating Facebook ads for solar companies. But the only thing that would be different is the copywriting and the form.
Right. Perfect. So we'll put that link in the description for your video there. All right. So Zack, let's give them an idea now. How much, Zack, should they plan to spend on their first campaign, and what should they anticipate a return in terms of number of leads and potential closes?
So there's always going to be a cost per lead KPI or key performance indicator. For more seasoned advertisers, it's around $10, between $10 to $15. If you're just starting out and you're not really sure about generating leads and you don't have any experience, you should be estimating a cost per lead of, I would say, $25. And that's if you are like a beginner. It means that it would take you $25 to get one lead. And then you can just reverse engineer the math. So if you would spend $250, you would get 10 leads, 520. So if that makes sense, I think you can do really well with 20 leads a month if they're good quality.
Yeah, I think you're being conservative with those numbers too, because I think even somebody, if you're doing something that they already need, that people already need, you're going to find that cost per lead drops pretty significantly, pretty quick. But let's keep it in perspective too. I mean, $25 to generate a lead is cheap. That's cheap. Now we got it down to at one point I was down to about $3. I mean, I was able to get my leads down to about $3 a lead. I've done it where I used to play in the 7 range quite a lot, $7 a lead. Suffice it to say, you can lower your cost over time. So the $25 per lead, that might sound like a lot. Most of you are probably, I mean, you should have a lot more profit than $25 a lead is nothing. I mean, let's just keep it in perspective. That's nothing.
Yeah. And also like that $25 per lead has a massive margin of error because, like when you're not
Exactly.
really trained and you just theoretically know what to do, but you don't really have any like, practice behind you, you may
Right.
get $25, but like after doing it for like a month or two, your cost is going to go down,
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is ultimately what you want, and that's going to be warm leads. So that's going to be
There's also
leads
this
with a lot higher. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there's also this phenomenon that occurs too, and I don't know why, and you might be able to confirm it or something, but whenever somebody starts a new campaign on Facebook and they're new to it, it Meta, Instagram, Facebook, they tend to I think throttle your campaign behind so that you get results to kind of get, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So be
yeah,
prepared to be have some early success because they do, especially if you've never done a campaign before and you're just starting out, you will get business off that campaign. I promise. Um,
it's the
yeah,
same with
as long
casinos
as you know how to
actually.
call them. Exactly. It's the lost leader. They know that they're going to hook you. A good ad campaign ends up like a slot machine because what happens is you pour a little bit of money in it and you see how many leads you get back. I used to love that. A part of running my business years ago was knowing that I could go and put a I could create an ad and then I could put the ad out there and it was like, how much is this one return? And that became fun. That actually became fun. Like, I could just I put a little more money behind it. I test it. I do it modifications to it, and then I put a little more money behind that one, and then finally I'd get one that was like just killing it, and I just put a ton of money behind it. So it gets fun. I mean, it gets a little addicting too, but that's it. But in the beginning, yeah, Facebook and Meta, they tend to give you a little bit of a bump in the beginning just to get you hooked on it. I think that's a pretty good video. I'm hopefully anybody out there who watched this, hopefully you guys got some value out of this. And again, this is intended to get you to start your ad campaign for your construction company. I don't care if you have a company or not, or if you're just a handyman working out of a truck. This applies to you too. Anybody who wants to get in touch with us, leave messages below this video, comments. If you leave comments below this video, we'll interact with you. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing. We also will put our links below so you get a hold of Zack or I. And so if you guys like this and you want us to keep doing it, subscribe, hit like, so that we can launch this little YouTube channel we have here. Zack, you have anything to say?
No, no, no.
Awesome.